Government leaders have abandoned the capital and are now hiding in exile. Information out of occupied Athens has been sporadic, but Soviet forces are indeed in control of the capital as well as much of the outlying territories in Greece. In the city, fighting among Allied and Soviet troops continues, but the Allied death toll is rising rapidly. Now it remains to be seen if Allied forces will be able to weather this onslaught intact. Reacting to this latest assault, Allied diplomats led the United Nations in a 281-7 vote that, in approving a unique military funding initiative aimed at increasing global Allied support. This proposal calls for the formation of a global defense agency to be temporarily established in an as yet unnamed European capital. Indeed, in control of the capital as well as much of the outlying.
Sounds bad, does it not? Well, it is. But Stalin has just written his obituary. At last, this will help us galvanize the rest of the world against him. Yes, we have lost Greece, but we are not out just yet. Stalin may think so, but if we can continue to counsel the talents of commanders like yourself, we will come through this war on top. My old friend... One of Tanya's men. She found something. But Russian security agents have captured her. They will almost certainly take her back to Moscow. We must get her back. She has vital information on the Iron Curtain project. That information could help tip the scales in our favor. Let him clear his head. In this state, he is of no use to us. The Soviets currently hold Tanya near Grodno. The prison is well guarded, but a supply truck from a nearby Soviet base runs through the facility several times a day. If your spies can infiltrate the war factory, they may be able to hitch a ride into the prison compound. Once you have found Tanya, get her out of there any way you can.
On my way. For king and country. On my way. On my way. For king and country.
В общем, здесь вначале можно потратить кучу времени, пытаясь понять, что надо делать.
For king and country. On my way. For king and country. For king and country. Okay. On my way. On my way.
Оказывается, вот как. Кто бы мог подумать.
King and country.
Mission saved.
For king and country. On my way. On my way. Indeed. Indeed. On my way. For king and country.
Теперь, когда они ими заняты, можно спокойно проникнуть на завод.
Building infiltrated. Building infiltrated. Sonia freed.
Yeah?
Mission saved.
I'm there. Let's rock. I'm there.
Теперь нужно уничтожить все установки ПВО.
Let's rock. Chew on this. Let's rock. Let's rock. Let's rock. Let's rock. Let's rock. Let's rock. Chew on this. Let's rock. I'm there. Chew on this. I'm there. Chew on this. I'm there. I'm there.
Reinforcements have arrived. Reinforcements have arrived. Allied reinforcements have arrived from the south.
Affirmative.
Mission saved.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. At one.
С помощью этих сил мы сможем захватить базу, что находится выше по карте.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Естественно, на юго-восточную базу сейчас лучше не соваться.
Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Be acknowledged. Engineering. Affirmative.
New construction options. Building.
Ready and waiting. Very well. Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Имейте в виду, что в этой части серии инженеры могут захватывать только здания, поврежденные очень сильно, то есть до 3 хп.
Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Yes, affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Engineering. Affirmative. Yes, affirmative. Engineering. Yes, affirmative.
New construction options.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Building.
Reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Unit lost.
Противник в основном атакует с восточной и с южной стороны. Так как к югу от базы находится первое месторождение, его стоит охранять более тщательнее, потому что можно в определенный момент лишиться харвеста.
Unit lost. Building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge.
Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Vehicles reporting. Affirmative. Reporting. Waiting orders. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Vehicle. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Building.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Reporting. Affirmative.
Repaired.
Yes, sir.
Insufficient
Авиации
funds.
здесь нужно строить как можно больше, так как она позволит безнаказанно разрушать постройки противника.
Repaired. Unit repaired. Unit ready.
Vehicle reporting. Yes, sir. Reporting. Affirmative. Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Building.
Да, здесь лучше построить второй Харвестер, так как ресурсов постоянно не хватает.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative.
Вот, собственно, авиация в действии.
Reporting. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Проблема в том, что здесь я кое-чего не предусмотрел. Противники, если уничтожить все производственные постройки, продают остальные здания и выдвигаются к нашей базе. В этот момент я не был готов отразить их атаку.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Silence.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Building.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Construction complete. Mission saved.
Affirmative.
Здесь я решил подготовиться и начал избавляться от их ракетных установок, так как они, по-моему, самые опасные противники.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Здесь я уже подготовился к тому, что они пойдут в раш.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Our base is under attack.
Waiting order. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Our base is under attack.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Mission accomplished.
Excellent work, Commander. The information Tanya recovered has proved invaluable. Would you not agree, Stavros?
Yes. Our analysis is almost No, sit. I'm late. I apologize. My watch is not working.
Professor Einstein, this is an honor. General Nikos Stavros.
Yes.
Professor, let me introduce the commander who rescued you. Commander, this is Professor Albert Einstein.
Yes. Very exciting.
These are reconnaissance photos taken near the Aegean Sea. Professor, perhaps you can help us identify the specifics?
From what I've had a chance to read, this is Stalin's main research laboratory. They are working on a new kind of defensive system. Oh, yeah, this is it. The Iron Curtain. It's based on the theory of resonating molecules at certain
Well, yes,
frequencies.
Professor, but what does the Iron Curtain do?
Do? Well, by the theorem, it appears to make things invulnerable. See, any vehicle or structure covered with this effect, by theory, will be impervious to harm. It's incredible. I know Tesla was experimenting with this kind
Thank
of...
you, Professor. That is all we need to know. Soviet research on this device cannot be allowed to continue. What else do we know about this research facility, Stavros? Nikos, put your personal losses aside for a moment, will you?
Yes, of course. Besides R&D functions, this base also serves as a waypoint for Soviet submarine actions, so it is heavily populated. As far as we can tell, the only prototype they have of this Iron Curtain is located here. We do not know if it is operational yet.
Commander, your task is simple. Get into that base, infiltrate their laboratories, and destroy all information and prototypes of this Iron Curtain.
Meeting orders.
Видно, на этом острове совсем нету места, так что придется продвигаться вперед. Далее этот остров можно будет использовать как источник ресурсов.
Acknowledged. Reporting. Agreed. Agreed. Affirmative. Very well.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Very well. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Reporting. Affirmative. At once. Reporting. Acknowledged. Very well. Agreed. Reporting. Affirmative. 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 Very well. At once. Very well. Very well. Yes, sir. Very well. Agreed. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Ready and waiting. Agreed. Affirmative. Reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Construction options. Building.
Acknowledged. At once. Agreed. Agreed.
Our base is under attack. Construction complete. Construction options. Building.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Reporting. At once. Agreed. Yes, sir. Agreed. Very well. Vehicle reporting.
Mission saved.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Construction complete. Construction options.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Building.
Вначале будет в основном донимать авиация и пехота, так что лучше построить несколько ракетчиков и пару дотов. В основном авиация в фокусе с электростанции.
Building. Training.
Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Ready and waiting. Report. Affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit
Yes,
ready.
sir. At once. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Medic reporting.
Unit lost.
Awaiting orders.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Moving out. Moving out.
Training. Unit lost. Unit ready. Training. Unit lost. Construction
Yes, sir.
complete.
Agreed.
Unit lost. Training. Unit lost. Unable
Yes,
to
sir.
comply. Building
course.
presence. Training. Unit lost. New construction options. Low power. Unit lost. Our base is under attack.
Reporting.
Training. Construction complete. Building. Construction complete. Building. Construction complete. Building. Construction complete. Building. Construction complete. Base is under attack. Building.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Construction complete. Building. Construction complete. Construction options. Building.
В этой миссии карта представляет из себя 3 небольших острова и побережье континента. Наша область располагается на самом большом из островов. Другие 2 служат для добычи ресурсов.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building.
Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Naval unit lost.
Affirmative. Vehicle reporting.
Как видно, помимо нашей базы на Большом острове располагается вражеский форт-пост.
Construction complete. Unit lost. Construction options.
Commander.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Commander, on my way. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Waiting order. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Reporting. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Commander. Indeed. Commander. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Building
Acknowledged.
infiltrate.
К сожалению, в этой части серии явного применения шпионам нет, только по сюжету.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Вон как раз слева находится небольшой остров с ресурсами, но я, правда, не знаю, как оттуда их вытаскивать.
Affirmative.
Как только вы попадаете на побережье любым юнитом, оно полностью открывается, за исключением некоторых территорий. Да, здесь также рекомендую иметь как минимум 2 харвестера.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Mission saved.
Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Knowledge. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge.
Как видно, здесь я отправил БМП со шпионами для проникновения в исследовательский центр и отряд прикрытия.
Affirmative. Acknowledge. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Vehicle. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative.
На самом востоке побережья находится второй исследовательский центр, но в него после проникновения в первый попадать не обязательно.
Indeed. Affirmative.
Первая крупная атака на их базу, целью которой было уничтожить главное строение и производственные постройки.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Waiting orders. Affirmative. Waiting. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Our base is under
Acknowledge.
attack.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Это вторая атака на базу, во время которой мне удалось уничтожить все основные постройки, после чего противник продал все свои строения, и мне осталось только уничтожить все его юниты.
Waiting orders. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Naval unit lost. Naval unit lost.
Affirmative. Very well. Waiting orders.
Одна из неудачных попыток избавиться от всей этой толпы.
Very well.
Unit lost.
Affirmative.
Lost.
Ready and waiting. Yes, sir.
Unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Yes, sir.
Lost.
Affirmative. Three. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Ready and waiting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Lost.
Yes, sir.
Lost.
Acknowledged.
Так как противники подошли к вплотную к берегу, я решил воспользоваться возможностью расстрелять их издалека с помощью кораблей.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Это последняя атака, в которой мне наконец-то удалось добить остатки их армии.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged. Awaiting orders. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Mission accomplished.
Acknowledged.
Construction options. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Affirmative.
Выполнять цель этой миссии — захватить радар, который находится к югу от базы, и уничтожить духи подлодок.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Reinforcements have arrived. New construction options. Construction complete. New construction options. Training. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged.
Training. Unit ready. Training. Unit ready. Training. Unit ready. Training. Building. Unit ready. Construction complete. Training.
В основном противники идут с южного прохода, поэтому стоит строить оборонительные постройки там.
Unit ready. Base is under attack. Training. Unit ready. Training. Unit ready. Mission saved. Building. Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Very well. Affirmative.
Construction complete. Construction options. Building.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Building. Construction
Yes, sir.
complete.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Vehicle acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Agreed. Affirmative. Engineering. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Agreed. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Agreed. Awaiting orders.
Silos needed.
Report. Yes, sir. No, affirmative. Yes, sir.
Building.
Reporting. Very well. Engineering. Affirmative.
First objective met. Construction complete. Low power.
После захвата радара он становится не нужен, так что можно его сразу же продать.
Pencil. Building.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Our base is under attack.
После захвата радара противники начнут усиленно атаковать вашу базу, поэтому в этом проходе между скал стоит довольно сильно укрепиться.
Ready and waiting. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
решил зачистить центральную часть карты.
Waiting orders. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. 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 Affirmative.
Silence needed.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Yes,
Unit
sir.
lost.
Yes, sir. At once.
Building.
Affirmative. Of course.
Unit lost.
Vehicle reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Вообще, пытаться уничтожить вражескую базу не стоит. Лучше уничтожить их электростанции, чтобы лишить их энергии. После добраться до их доков и просто уничтожить. На этом миссия будет завершена.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Mission saved.
Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative, sir.
Unit lost.
Awaiting orders. Yes, sir. Reporting. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledge.
Silence
Affirmative.
needed.
Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Yes, sir.
Unit lost. Unit
Yes, sir.
lost.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative. Acknowledge. 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 Affirmative. 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 Acknowledge. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Awaiting order. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Naval unit lost.
Acknowledged.
unit
Acknowledged.
lost.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Naval
Acknowledged.
unit
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. 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 Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Building. Unit ready.
Хорошо, что есть возможность ускорить игру.
Building. Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Building. Second objective met. Mission accomplished.